had questions a lot about selling your improv to corporates. Okay, I'm going to put my silly face away and give the stage to you both. Let me just check that I can hear you. Say hi.
Hey, good morning.
Yay, great. Good morning, good afternoon. All right, and over to you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. So for us, it's good morning. It's been a delight to see all this summit happening from people everywhere. We are a Portuguese trio. Now we are only two here, professional actors that somehow stumbled into improvisation a while ago, fell in love with it, and then decided to start doing shows and shows and shows. But then we could not leave from the box office. We understood straight away we needed also to bring our art into corporate, into events and training sessions and talks. And that's how we are still alive and being able to improvise 100% of our time. And only now, when we miss it, we go into scripted theater or other forms of art that we still love, and it's important for us to combine too. I'm Marta.
I'm Pedro.
And so we are based in Portugal. And today we are not in Lisbon, which is our daily city where we live and where we perform. And we will be here for you for 45 minutes. Normally, in our training sessions, we bring a lot of exercises. This is a solution corner. So basically, we're going to share a little bit our experience to you with very practical information. And we expect further to the end that you can bring questions, use the chat, as Lauren said, and eventually we will also bring you into the stage depending how this goes and how the flow goes.
Yeah. And so let's jump into the topic about corporate and improv. And so maybe you have this improv group and you've been performing for a while, for some years, maybe you've done a special show for a friend or in a bar or something, and now you would like to get to corporate clients, to do big events, and how you get there. So that's what we are going to discuss here. If you have done it, please write in the chat if you have this kind of experience. But you might know that it's kind of difficult to get there, So what makes it so difficult? So you don't know where to start. You don't have the contacts, maybe you have a friend who works in a company. That can be a good starting point. The corporate world, they don't know you as a group, maybe. They probably don't know much about improvisation, and they think it's stand-up. You know how it goes. They don't know if it's relevant, and most of all, they are scared to try new things. So they don't know I don't know if I should go into. I would rather hire the stand-up guy that came last year, So these kind of things make it a little bit hard to get in. But there's also opportunities. Corporate does want good things. They want original things to spice up their events. They want to have something new. They want to have something customized.
Yeah, and normally, even the word improvisation or improv, it's not clear in people's mind if they are not in the business, and it's okay. We understand it. Even me, from the professional point of view, when I was acting, doing scripted theater, I didn't have much references about improvisation as a way of building a show. I use improvisation to work around my character, to work with my group, to prepare before we would go on stage and when we would start rehearsing. But the very traditional way of teaching theater and the theater degree, it's very orientated in the sense that the improvisation, it's just a mean to get to scripted theater or to do cinema and to play, basically. So even for me, working professionally as an actress for many, many years, improvisation was not clear what that was all about. Would it need to be always funny? Was it always about comedy? So for the clients, most of the time is that. And if it happens that you are in a country where you don't have as many groups as we in Portugal, we used to have only one big group for many years, and they were a male group. So their energy and they were very orientated into a little bit of stereotypes and this kind of games, very fast games. Of course, that's the reference that eventually the audience might have. So it's also up to you to start building your community and to see what does your community offer that can be a reference for the client. And if they don't have a reference, you need to build in their head what is the good example you want to settle and what is the premises you want to give. So you have these kind of difficulties. They don't know you, they are scared. If they want to buy something from you, if it is not scripted, what are they buying? The scare of will it fail? What will the content be like? And that's something a little bit weird in the beginning. So I'm buying something that I don't know what I'm buying. Some clients have said that this kind of approaches to us. But as Pedro was saying, we've been seeing and we've been working with companies that go from banks to health insurances, from big supermarkets, from industry, technology, and it's all about the same thing. It's people, and people need to be entertained. People need to be entertained, but in a very polite way because they are afraid, and they need to be reassured that everything will be okay. And if they have like a team building event, of course now we are mainly online for the past year, but until last year, there were main dates of the year that were key. Normally would be the third trimester between September and December, where normally they would like do a balance to see how the year was going. They would reunite people. They would do like Christmas events. And the kickoff of the year in the first trimester was also very strong with setting goals, sharing goals, bringing teams from different parts of the country. And so, of course, when you have 1 or 2 or 3 days where everybody's gathered in a hotel or in a facility, they need some key moments to bring energy, to unite everybody and to entertain.
Yeah. And now I would like to talk about the corporate profile. So we're talking about a lot of times if you go to a bank or something, it's people are kind of gray, kind of, a bow and tie, kind of serious, formal. Although some of them think they are fun, but they are very formal usually. There is a hierarchy. When you talk to the guy who is in charge of the event, he's very worried about what's going to happen. Because if it goes wrong, it's his fault. And usually he has a director above him, and the director has a CEO above them. And they will be in the events, and they will see if something goes wrong, if something goes out of line, they will point to him, the guy who hired you.
But let me just add that normally, from our experience, the person that is in charge of hiring somebody can be a magician, can be a stand-up guy, can be a musician. He or she is more worried, and sometimes they portray a very gray company or a very formal audience. But in reality, in the end, when we go there, people are just people, normal people. But that's their scare. They are blocking, as we all know, as improvisers, when we are afraid, we cannot yes and. So we start being a very no people, seeing doubts, raising questions. So that's their job, and it's perfectly understandable. Basically, you need to be, if you are in contact with this kind of people, you need to be trustable. you need to be professional, and you need to be sure and ensure them that whatever is the solution or the time they will give you, and you will build up a proposal around the timing that you are given, you will build a funny but very professional and adaptable solution. These are for us the key words. So to be professional, have adaptability, and to be very accurate in the promise that you deliver so that you can match expectations, and be very truthful saying about that the content, it's truly improvised, but in events you can do a little bit, it's not a cheating, but you can be fed with their information, and we will go there. And I'm also seeing that we have here a comment from Kay, and we
Hi,
will
Kay.
Hi Kay. We will go into your
Yeah,
comment
yeah.
very, very soon. Lovely for sharing with us.
Yeah. So we have this gap between us and corporates, and just to say that they don't know much about our business, so we need to build trust. That's the key word. They don't know what they're buying. They know it's kind of comedy, but they are like, oh, I don't know. But so you need to build this good relationship with them, and give them. Make them see that you are fun, but you know what you're doing. Okay. So how do you get to these people? How do you get to them? The best chance is to have them watch you in action. If you get them to watch a show, that's the best way for them to get to know your product. They see how you act, they see how you handle the audience. So it's a magic key. And then they will see your show, and then they will jump to their conclusions if it fits, if your style fits the event, the kind of event that they want.
Basically, when we wanted to jump into corporation, we were on stage, and these kind of invitations were sent to, and this is very practical information. You can, or you know somebody internally that can eventually share an invitation, or you can approach directly and Google. Internet is there. The contacts of most of the companies are online. So look for the human resources or the PR or the event or the marketing team, and send them an invitation saying, we are performing, we also work for corporates, and we wanted you to come and see our show. You're giving away some invitations, it's true, and you're giving away a little bit your work, but this is an investment. So you are investing in inviting people to see how kind you are with your colleagues. How is your creativity? How do you put on stage the yes ending, which is something that normally they like to understand that is behind the structure that we create. And then also you can always say, and that's something that we do a lot, that whatever is the timing that they will give you, the amount of time that you will have on the specific hour of the day, or with the specificity of the audience, you will work around creating something unique for them that match whatever they need, and that you can also do a small intro before you jump into your show, a more comedy or more dramatic, depending on your style. But you can do a slight introduction explaining how improvisation is present in everyday life of everybody. No, doesn't matter what is the business. We yes and every day in our life, and our life is not scripted, although we loved it sometimes, but it's not. And that everybody is a natural improviser, especially gifted as a child, but then in the grown-up world we tend to block. But it's on us, this ability to unlock it, and we are portraying a live example of how we can unlock the creativity and the yes ending. And in the end, normally we always wrap up whenever we close it and we thank people and the organization. We again wrap up even with the key message of the event, trying to create a link, why people are there in that moment, what unites them, and how people can be very spontaneous and bring that into the professional world to help team building happening.
Yeah, we usually say something like, so we do this without knowing what's going to happen and we work together. And that's kind of what you do as well, right? So inspire from us and do it in your daily work life.
And Paulina is saying from from her experience, human resources manager are very often happen to be in charge, and they are. It depends a little bit on the kind of the organization.
Yeah.
Sometimes that is concentrated also on branding or marketing. Depends on the
But
structure.
human resources directors are amazing contacts that you can have, especially if you go for workshops and
trainings and talks. They are amazing. And normally what happens is, if they hire you for a show and if it goes well and if they understand the concept of improvisation, then they might, that happened with us all the time, then they might want you to do a workshop, a bigger or a smaller one depending on the time they have, or a talk, or the other way around. If you just need to step inside the company, and once you're there, then the amount of opportunities either is for training or for entertaining, it's possible. And we do it now. I think, unfortunately, with the pandemic, we've been doing mainly that, but in the normal average routine, we can have 2 shows a week, but we have like 4 gigs of corporate stuff. So now even the amount of stuff that we do on corporate, it's higher, but we still need to be on stage, not only for creative purpose, but that's like a great showcase of who we are and how we perform. And that's a very good reference. So when you have this balance, it's the key moment. So don't get into despair. I didn't do it yet. I don't know how to do it. We will continue on going to enclosure more tips that can be useful for this.
Yeah, and most of our early success really came from people coming to our shows and they love the shows and now they want to bring, I want to bring this to my people. So it's a great opportunity. Just there's one thing that can be tricky, is that the venue that you are using, the production value, it really matters for corporate. So if you're doing free sessions on the local bar without a stage, we've kind of all been there somehow. No lighting, you're just doing it for 12 people. And then it's very hard to tell them, well, we're going to charge you 3,000 for a show. And they go, well, it goes like, because what they think is, well, I didn't pay for this and I'm watching and there's not many people. So it kind of looks as if your value is not very high.
Even if it is.
Even if it is, of course, even if you're amazing. But that's the perception that you get. So if you want to go down this corporate road, we would suggest you that you try, and I know it's hard and it's harder in some countries or cities, try to get a good venue. Even if you earn nothing from the tickets, you better pay a little more for a good space. And then if you do one shot or just a weekend on a very good space, that's the weekend where you invite everyone to go there.
And not only, but you record that, you get a good photographer and you invest from that moment. I remember the first show that we recorded, we didn't have much resources, but we invested and we asked for friends' helps, but recorded, photographed it. We created a super nice website, created a super amazing portfolio, and we treat our company, our theater company, as a company. So that's a little bit the difference, and that doesn't damage our creative aspect. We are still very creative, but we sell our business in a very wrapped up professional style. The content, it's up to us, and then we are very stricted, and I'm seeing comments about it. We are very stricted about what we want to put there, and we are the ones that know what fits into the show. Because then what happens is, because clients don't know exactly what they are hiring, sometimes they think they can give you the script of what's happening, and they jump into ideas and they become very excited and they want you to do this and this and that. But if you own the process, you have the legitimacy, of saying that doesn't work. For us, what we think it works, it's this, and that. And so if you own your process, you, in those kind of moments, it's not about an argument. It's hearing both parties, but in the end, you are the artistic director. You know what fits, and you know how to defend and your work, and how to make it as more relevant. And because you will be on stage performing for them, and always remember, it's completely different when you go into a client event. Normally, it's very rare that you open or close, but sometimes you can be in the middle of a day, which is a long day, and people didn't pay a ticket to be there. Somebody in the company decided that you would be a great moment for them. So you need to buy them, you need to buy their attention, you need to buy their want, because most of the people will be there just tired sometimes, and sometimes not that motivated, depending on the news of that day. If they are talking about numbers and figures and goals, sometimes it can be a long, messy day. So whenever you come on stage, or just for a talk, or to do a training, or to entertain them, most of the time the energy is not as high as you expect. And you need to quickly earn their trust, own your space, and be wanted. So of course you should own the content, and that's up to you to decide what you're going to bring. Of course, listening to the client expectation, but don't let them tell you that you need to address specifically this, and that, and do this, and that. You own that process.
You wanna be helpful, you wanna be adaptive, but it's a tricky road. When they start, sometimes they send us a list of names, and with each name they give us something that we can talk about them,
or you can poke people.
So, hey, this guy went on a sailing ride, and he dropped in the water once, and so they give us something, and we never ask them for that, but they think that's the kind of thing that it would be fun. But we try to avoid it, especially because we are very positive. We don't make fun of people,
and that's a very important thing. You need information about the company, so you can sustain and you can be more in their world. And normally, the kind of information about people we want is people that somehow are recognized and admired, or be an inspiration for everyone, not people that we can joke because they have these or these looks, or they do, or because they have this kind of behavior. Never that. That's a very, very tricky thing. That if you point out someone, even if it is the client that suggested, then if it doesn't go well, because it won't go well, and that's not our style, in the end, the audience will feel like you are joking around somebody, putting them on a spotlight, and it's not for a good reason. Only bring someone to the stage or play with people to make them become heroes. And for a very quick example, one day we were doing a show for a very big retail company, and before we asked to the client if there was somebody that everybody loved that would be eventually a good person to talk, to inspire us for a last moment of improvisation. We will do like a small slice of life. And when we do the slice of life, we try to bring elements that we know about the company, the products, the services, where they are located. So that's the kind of investment we do before we understand a little bit the business, the competitors, that we can joke a little bit around what is their world, the funny way of speaking, some specific things about the language,
the jargon.
So we asked, and there was a very old lady that was going to retire soon. She should have been retired much earlier, but it was like she was the phone operator, and she was like almost 70 years old, very adored by everyone, and she knew all the stories, the inside stories. So we asked her to come on stage. We interviewed. This was agreed with the client before. She didn't know she was going to be invited, but they said she will go for it, and she did come for it. And she shared, even for being in the company for more than 45 years, she shared things on stage that people didn't know. And she shared that now that she was going to retire, her biggest dream was to go.
Yeah, we asked her, what's in your future? What would you like? Is your dream? And she revealed it.
And she said, I would love to go to Brazil. My sister lives there. I've never been there. And this was not arranged. We received, after a few minutes, we received a paper.
I think it was after we did some improvisation around her life, and then we received the paper.
We received a handwritten paper from the director, the managing director, saying, please announce that the company will offer her the ticket plane to Brazil, and we will make her dream come true. Mm. And basically, this is we have tons of examples, but this is one of the examples that we really want to share, that working with corporate has to be with this positive attitude towards people, especially if you involve audience. Always make them be the fantastic, even if they are a bit not that great, even if the audience is not that nice to you, you should always live on top, in the sense that you were a perfect example, not the other way around.
Yeah. Now rewinding a little bit and going back to the process of hiring you. When you are hired, what can you expect from corporate? You can expect meetings, at least one, probably two,
three.
You can expect to get a ton of information, and you should ask for that kind of information, as we were saying: the product, the people, the market, what's going on, what happened this year, how is the mood of the people? Because sometimes the mood, they had a tough year, and so they might feel a little down, and so it's good that you know about it. Or they are the best and they sold everything and they're getting bonus. That would be awesome. You need to go around the thing about stand-up and this name thing, and they wanting to control your show. So you want to put their information in somehow, but and it might also be good to have, like, written on a paper on the side when you do the show, some kind of notes, some kind of technical jargon if it's too complicated. So you might have the chance to pick and remember, oh, I should go there. So it's not a regular free improvisation. It's a little bit directed in a way that you should touch this point and you should touch that point and that point, because it has to be. It's kind of what they want. And you can expect a lot of technical stuff coming up. And sometimes the groups are not prepared for that. You can expect, now you're going to do this show on a convention center, and they ask you, all right, what's your technical rider?
Script. We call it rider. Basically, what is your guidelines, your technical guidelines? So along with your proposal, when you build up your website and your portfolio, you need to have like a minimal tech sheet, so where you define what are the minimal conditions that you want to do. And this is another very valuable tip. Always put value on your show. Don't allow yourself to go on stage without a stage. When I say a stage, it doesn't need to be like a national theater, but at least consider a height, at least 40 centimeters. Yeah. Normally we say 60 centimeters, and a basic set of sound and lights. Even if it is very basic, but in our side, for instance, in our case, we never perform without a musician. So at least we have to have a DI and a piano, a small piano or whatever it is. And because technical things tend to go bad, always ask for not only to meet the technical responsible person in charge, so you can chat about it and to adjust, because sometimes it's possible to adjust the location, and the client, it's not their business, so they don't know what is the perfect location of the stage, if it is a room that is created for that.
Yeah.
It's like a hotel venue and you're gonna have a show, you can have a prior talk, and you ask for the maps
Yeah.
of the room, or you do a technical visit, and you understand how is the venue, how will be the people positioned, so you can always be sure that you are listened and heard.
Yeah.
So you have to have that and understand the lighting of the room. Does it have windows? Will that affect you? How will the shadow be? And that also depends on the hour of the day. So the technical part, because you can do the very thing, the most difficult thing. You arrive to the client. So even if it is because you do a showcase where you invite people, and now you have the human resources and other companies seeing you, and then you are there, that's great. Or you have somebody that recommend you, great. And then you did a meeting and you sell your idea. They told you you have this slot, and this is for this audience, and this will happen on that day. And you think, oh, we understand now what we're going to do, and you relax and think everything will now go well.
Yeah.
If you don't count on this technical stuff, this might work not in favor of you, and everything that it was so tough to get to there, then it won't happen because the mics won't work on the day, or because they won't see you, and so they will continue speaking if it is like an after dinner stuff, or if they are organized on tables, they get distracted.
And let me get to a practical example. It's sometimes it happens a lot when you get a venue like in a hotel room or something, and the venue goes like it goes like a long corridor, and their tendency is to put the people at the end of the stage, at the ends of this corridor, because it's okay if it's a music band, because people can eat and you can hear the music. You don't need to be looking at them. But for a theater show, they need to see you. And that's what Marta said. We need, that's the motto. We want them to see us and hear us. That's the thing. So in this case, okay, it would make sense here, but they don't see us. And if they don't see us, they will lose interest. They will start talking to the guy to the friend on the side. So usually we try to see if we can get the stage in the middle here, in the middle of the corridor, even if people go kind of around this, but everyone is close to the stage, because the thing that scares us the most is technical stuff. Yeah. That's where the show can go bad or can be good.
And we don't want to be stressed about that. But if things are not working, we get stressed about it, then we lose focus of the themes or the environment or the connection with the audience. And yes, Terj, I hope I'm pronouncing well your name. We always, in the beginning, we didn't have a backup material, but then we invested on it. And we now know also normally the venues, some of the venues kind of repeat themselves, and the sound teams, we know sometimes some are more equipped and professional than others, but even though we always have our spare kit of headsets, and we have a very basic kit of lights. And fortunately, prices are going lower with Amazon selling stuff and other companies selling stuff, so they can be more affordable. And yes, we now always take it as a backup, even if it is to help out or if something doesn't go well.
And Frank is saying something very precious. Don't perform while they are eating. We totally agree. And the thing is, and it's really, usually they do want, a lot of clients, hey, we want something while people are eating, and we go, no way, because then you have the servers coming back and forth and picking up plates,
and there is noise,
and there's a lot of noise with the spoons and the forks and all. Usually say, okay, when they start serving the coffees, we can get in then. Now, if you ask us, if you have the opportunity, should you perform before or after dinner? Usually we would prefer to go before, because after dinner it's late, people are getting tired. It might go that people start drinking, and then in the end they are too excited with each other. So having the opportunity to go before, which usually the clients don't prefer, but sometimes we can do it. It's perfect.
Again, the more you do it, the more you own your speech, the more you own your experiences. And it's also very important, once you do it and it goes well, ask for a note from your client, a small review or a testimonial. That helps a lot. And it starts grow even your confidence of saying no to some things, because you know they won't work, or at least they don't work for you. Might work for other companies, but for you, they don't work. So if we want to sum up and start giving very practical tips, what do you want to share with you? Because we want to also jump in here into the questions from the chat. So try to be noticed. If you want to be noticed, invite people over, or do production, become producers on the time you're not on stage. Even if you don't like it, what we've been seeing is that the companies that can live from improvisation are companies made with people that don't mind working around computer and learning stuff. Even if you learn to edit videos, you learn to edit documents, you learn photography somehow, you learn a little bit of everything, you learn lights, you learn a little bit of sound. So you can be in all stages of the process. You won't be owning everything, but at least if you're bringing people to help you, you can learn from them and start growing the quality of things that you do. So try to get to companies, either if it is for a recommendation, for a friend, or for showcasing, where you invite everybody. On that day, do invest on having staff that are very professional. And normally we also, if you know you're having a client there, in the end, ask them to go to the backstage. The clients love to see the magic behind the scene. They love to see how it happened. You can
talk to the actors,
artists, they love it. So once you seduce them, or if you don't have that opportunity, build a lovely portfolio and do spontaneous. See who are the biggest companies in your city or in your country, and send them. Approach them online, send them. You will have responses for sure. Once you get there, then you need to present, use corporate language in the sense that they are afraid artists are too crazy. No, behave normally as you are. Be inspirational, be trustful,
trustworthy,
and funny. And reassure them. That's something that in the beginning we need to say. You don't go, and pardon my French, you don't go for the shitty fuck solution. That's something that scares them. Even if they want to be, you always reassure them that you're gonna be respectful. You won't be politically incorrect. You don't need to say it, but you won't be misogynist. You won't be racist. You will be friendly and polite and funny, but respectful.
We never use in our shows, we never use swear words like fuck or shit. We never do explicit sex or even close to that. So we are very careful about that, but that's kind of our style. But usually it's good for corporate that they know, okay, that you don't do swear words, because that's something that usually can make a difference from stand-up comedy, which sometimes goes down that path. And some people like it a lot, but some people don't. And it's safer to not go there.
So now you're there and you are invited for the meeting, and they say you have this kind of slot. What are the tips that we say? Try to understand the time that you have, the occasion where it happened during the day. Is it morning stuff, pre-lunch, after lunch, pre-dinner, after dinner? Try to understand your audience. Ask them for age range, formality, if they know each other, if they are from different locations of the country, if they are international. So once ask them specificities of their market stuff, or in good stories, and key people from the organization that are loved and can be an inspiration, as the example we set in the beginning. And also ask them for merchandising. Ask them stuff that you can bring into your stage that can brand the stage and they feel their own. If they have garments, wear them, at least for the entrance, and they love it. when you appear with their jacket or with their helmet, depending on the industry they work. So try to customize as much as you can.
Yeah.
And always choose the structure, the kind of interaction you're going to have according with their profile. Are
and
you
the
going to
time you have?
Yeah. Is it a 30-minute slot? So always do an icebreaker. Then you can do a small, easy and to understand game, like more physical, and then eventually a little bit of a more free form, or like a slice of life, or a Cupid, or a game that interacts with people. And in the end, take time to debrief a little bit what happened and try to link with the moment they are living, and eventually to salute people and to ask for somebody to do a formal closure.
Yeah, and don't go below 30 minutes. Sometimes clients like, hey, we will have this 15 minutes and we need something fun. And sometimes we
do it, but it's difficult.
But we never do 15 minutes.
20 normally.
If they say we have 20 minutes, we try to go at least 30, that we can do 2 bits, because it's really hard. You need to conquer the people. You need to have that time to establish the link. Otherwise, you're just guys who are coming up, oh, what's going on, and do something. And so you need to create a relationship with your audience.
In the end, always ask them to take a picture with you, and ask them internally to share it, so you can then ask the human resources department to spread it around and to ask people to come into your social network. And that's basically our last suggestion.
And when you start doing it, you get clients, and the more clients, the more trustworthy you are. And so that can help you reach. Last year we did for the biggest bank in Portugal, we did for 4,000 people, and that was absolutely amazing.
And I'm just going through the comments. I think
it's a lot of good tips that came in the chat.
Yes.
So it was. I think our time is up, but it was great to have you here. It was a pleasure to be part of this amazing
super
summit.
well organized.
Yes,
and to the point. Thank
Hey.
you. Perfect.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.